ultimately, teams win championships. I don't lose sleep over that. Like, fuck, how did me and Luka lose?
Right,
like,
no.
well, yeah. There's 8 other guys on the floor.
All right, welcome back to the channel, everyone. Hope y'all are having a good day so far. So you guys are just going wild with the video suggestions lately, but you guys have been not steering me wrong whatsoever. So once again, without hesitation, here is one from the community. And well, I didn't know if I was gonna do this, but the excuses have been stacking up now, haven't they? And I did talk about it last season okay, what am I talking about? This video is titled LeBron James has new excuses and they're insane. Yes, he does. I've heard you're only as good as your teammates, which is like, okay, so cool, good leader. And then I've heard he's got a knee injury now, all of a sudden, from that flop that he did. And mind you, it's one of the worst flops I've ever seen him do. I mean, I'd say about top 20 flops. He's done a lot of them, but he totally just ran into a defender, flopped down on the ground, acted like he was hurt, and now that they lost the series, he's literally acting like he's hurt. Is this a surprise? No. It's something he's done, I mean, how many years in a row now? He was even doing this stuff in his second stint in Cleveland. Acting like he has a broken hand and all this stuff. Like, it never ends with this guy. I mean, we call him like excuse for a reason. Anyways, intro aside, let's just see what it is. There might be a couple things I missed. Once again, like I said, I wasn't so much planning on like talking about this directly, just because it's so annoying at this point and it's so predictable. But I guess we need to document it all, right? Because eventually it's going to be over and it'll be time to assess where does he rank among the greats. And I think these things need to play a factor. Because all the other greats that are, on my top 5, my top 10 list, they don't do this crap. In fact, they don't do any of this BS that LeBron's always doing, which is why LeBron is so low on my list. It really is. It's just because I can't see greatness in what he's doing. So I can say he's a good basketball player and he's accomplished some pretty cool things. Yes, indeed, I can. And he sure as hell played a long time. But can I say he's great? Or he's one of the greatest? Like top 10? I don't know, man. Anyways, let's get into this. Excuse me, I had a tickle in my throat that whole time. This is from a channel called BlacktopBuckets. Once again, thank you to the community for pointing this out to me. Let's get right into it. Leave this video a like if you don't mind. It helps out a lot and it pushes the video out into the algorithm. And yeah, let's do it.
You're only as great as your teammates
there it
allow
is.
you to be as well.
People gonna try to blame.
Okay, right off the bat. So right off the bat, let's digest that one. You're only as good as your teammates. And then he went on the Mind the Game podcast a couple days after this with Steve Nash, and he repeated that. So that's the new narrative that he wants to drill into everyone's head, is that it's not his fault, it's his teammates' fault. He's only as good as his teammates are. So they got knocked out in the first round, 4-1. And so apparently his teammates aren't good, which is wild to me because honestly, he was the biggest detriment of the team that I saw. If this was Luka's team and he had that supporting cast around him, yeah, I gotta say, I think they would have won the series. No offense to Wolves fans, but I think they would have won the series. So that one is a completely ridiculous statement. And if people are actually riding with that without thinking about it, that's nuts.
Blame whatever, blame whoever. They can blame me. I just didn't play good enough.
You have
There
your
it is.
big guys that make big
That's one thing I like about Ant, too. He's not making excuses.
plays at the end of games, throughout the game, or whatever the case may be. But ultimately, teams win championships. I don't lose sleep over that. Like, fuck, how did me and Luka lose?
Right, no.
Well, yeah. There's 8 other guys on the floor.
Yeah.
So
of course,
So
No, there's really only 3 other guys on the floor at one given point between you, Luka, and you got. I mean, just stop it.
I think that cannot be excuse.
The Timberwolves Lakers series.
Jokic too. I've been paying attention to these press conferences. Jokic makes no excuse, even when they got spanked. They got blown out of the building by OKC. No excuse. The reporters were giving him every opportunity to make an excuse, and he was just saying like, no, you know, that's how they've always played. This is how we've always played. There's no excuse, you know. We need to do better. And Ant-Man's doing the same thing. He's like, no, the shots just weren't falling, you know, so I'll come back and be better. No excusing, nothing else. Not blaming his teammates.
Series has long been over with, but that hasn't stopped LeBron from coming up with new excuses. First, he came out with an injury.
This is the first time I've ever had a sustained knee injury where I had to like, okay, you got to get off your feet. I knew as soon as when the impact happened with me and DiVincenzo, you know, I felt it right away. My knee locked up, and that's why I stayed on the ground for quite a minute to see if the knee would kind of release a little bit, and that's the MCL injury that I had. So 4 to 6 weeks, the docs told me. I have 4 or 6 weeks now. That's the benefit. That's the benefit.
But that shouldn't be.
Okay, so that's the reason why you laid on the ground for minutes on end with your face down this time? What about when you did it, I think it was like game 2? So just like a couple days prior to this. Why'd you do it that time, LeBron? And then why'd you do it like a couple weeks before that? How about the last 20 times you've done it? We've been watching it all season. Why'd you do it those times? Were you injured all those times too?
Too surprising, since he does it.
Do you think I'm stupid, LeBron?
Every time he loses.
Pretty much played the last 3 games with a broken hand. So.
You know, my ankle was the only thing that was kind of bothering me. Well, obviously bothered me in the later stage of the season.
I tore a tendon in my foot. Went to the LeBron James of feet. But we was just hit with injuries after injuries after injuries, and you know, it's hard to come back from that.
Even if we would have won game, you know, at 5 at home, you know, I would have probably missed 6 and 7, you know, and even further. But
he said it was a grade 2 MCL sprain. Game 5 was still close when the impact happened, so he came up with this for insurance in case they lost. And that's why he didn't go to the locker room. If he really suffered that serious of an injury, he wouldn't be able to come back in the game or play the rest of the season if they won.
It's the dumbest thing too. Like he's getting worse at this. Like he literally voluntarily just walks up to a dude and then bumps into him and then falls on the ground. And he's doing that as an insurance in case they lose, for when they lose. Because at this point, it was obvious they were going to lose the series. So that's just so he can blame it on something. He's always only thinking about the history books, this guy. Okay? What I mean by that is that he's thinking in his head, which is going to backfire for him. But what he's thinking in his head is every time I lose, if there's an associated article or something that can document this period of time and then say, you know, Lakers lose game 5, you know, whatever, that they're out of the playoffs, 2025. Oh, LeBron James sustained a knee injury in game 5. So then the correlation will be, oh, well, they lost because LeBron was injured. But at a certain point, you become like Chris Paul. Sorry, Chris Paul. Like I love Chris Paul. But at a certain point, it's like, okay, well, how many times are you going to get injured deep in the playoffs? So maybe he just wasn't that reliable. And then that's going to work against his whole narrative of being this indestructible dude, you know? Because it's going to be like, okay, well, he's a tough guy, right? Apparently, that's what the history shows. Big, giant, tough dude. Solid muscle. But when it came down to crucial games, he was always gone. And then if they can go one step further and look at his stats in the fourth quarter and the playoffs, then it's completely over. His legacy's over.
That serious of an injury, he would have needed help to the locker room and crutches to leave the arena. Kevin Durant has suffered this exact injury dozens of times in his career, and every single time he goes straight to the locker room. The longest he ever played through an MCL sprain was 30 seconds, where he was completely immobile and writhing in pain the entire time. Mm-hmm. Not only did LeBron finish the game with 0 noticeable pain, he was even setting screens with other players running directly into that knee. And for those of you that are going to say, LeBron just played through it and he's tougher than Kevin Durant, don't let his small frame fool you.
Yeah.
Kevin Durant is one of the toughest players in the league. He played on a partial torn Achilles in the finals before tearing it all the way, and he only sits out when he absolutely has to.
That's a good point here, because I did watch that entire game 5, and once LeBron finally gets up, he's literally fine. He's perfect. He's running around just fine. No indications of an injury. Nothing. It's just like the previous 9 times that he flopped and he went face down, because that's his new thing. He likes to go face down when he flops. So there was nothing different. He goes face down. Everyone's laughing at him or just like annoyed with him on the court. They're not even taking him seriously. Eventually he gets up, and then this is what happens. You know, he's just fine. So I don't want to hear it. Ouch, KD.
'Tis but a scratch. A scratch? Your arm's off.
But it doesn't really matter when the Lakers would have lost. LeBron would have just waited
That's the
until that
dumbest play I've ever seen. Let's watch it one last time.
Off.
But it doesn't really matter when the Lakers would have lost. LeBron would have just waited until that happened. He takes a hard fall every game, so he could have come up with anything. You see on that play,
yeah, there he is. My face is on fire. I'm crying. I don't see him holding a knee. Do you guys see him holding a knee? He's doing the same thing he always does with my face is on fire. It's like watching the 20th sequel to a terrible freaking movie. I swear.
Randall actually broke my skull, you know, and I couldn't see, I couldn't talk to my teammates or anything of that nature.
Yeah.
And that's why I stayed on the ground so long. But I pretty much played games 2 through 5 with a broken face, so you got all that right. LeBron also
You
blamed
sound like Embiid there a little bit. Why not me? Why can't I be MVP?
the role players for him and Luka losing.
I don't lose sleep over that. Like, fuck, how did me and Luca lose?
Right,
like,
no.
well, yeah. There's 8 other guys on the floor.
Yeah.
There's many
No,
reasons.
you should. Yeah, and Nash, I know he's being nice because he wants a job again, man. And that's my boy. My boy is Nash, but right now I'm not so happy with him, but I understand what he's doing. He wants a job. He wants to be the next JJ. No, man, Nash knows. When they lost, when the Suns were losing over here, that was on him and Amari. Mainly him. He was the leader, and he took the accountability every single time. If you watch those press conferences, he knew it started and ended with him. But Amari was his sidekick, you know, like a hell of a sidekick too. So it started and ended with them, and then it was on everyone else after that. If they did their jobs and no one else did, then it's like, all right, what changes we need to make? But it's not that, well, LeBron James doesn't have to show up and do his job because there's other players on the team. No, you all have to do your job. And the accountability starts with the leadership. And you're supposed to be the veteran and the leader of the team. You want all the credit, but you don't want the responsibility. It doesn't work that way, man. Not in the long run. Maybe in the short term it has. In the long run, it ain't going to work out that well for you, man.
Reasons why this excuse isn't valid, but to keep things as simple as possible, here's the 4 players responsible for the Lakers' offense in the series. Here's the 4 players responsible for the Timberwolves' offense. Which 4 players are considered better?
Yeah,
Which team had a better regular season?
Yeah, the Lakers were the 3rd seed. They were the better team. But their only problem the Lakers had is they had LeBron James on it. And LeBron James sabotages his teams. Can't help it.
And a higher seed. And which team was favored to win the series?
Yep, Lakers.
Everyone knows the Timberwolves have more size and a better defense, while the Lakers have none. But outside of Game 5, when Rudy Gobert turned into Shaq, every game the Wolves won, their key players...
By the way, LeBron guards defends 1 through 5, right? That's what the narrative is. Last time I'm going to say this one. Why didn't he shut down Rudy Gobert? I believe LeBron was the tallest guy and the biggest guy on the court for the Lakers for most of this series. They were playing a ton of small ball this whole series, okay? So if you're the biggest guy and you can guard 1 through 5, like that's a special thing, right? That's a LeBron-only thing that you can guard 1 through 5. It's special. So why didn't you do it? Why did Gobert kill you in Game 5? Just asking.
Outplayed the Lakers' key players. Same goes for the game the Lakers won. Ant had players step up, but none of them are the caliber of Luka Doncic, which is why many thought the Lakers would easily win this series. Even if the Wolves are a bad matchup, nearly every game was close, and LeBron had key turnovers and missed shots in those games.
James looking to throw it into the front court. Bounce pass, deflected and stolen by McDaniels.
Can I break it down again real quick? Just
Was
really
close,
quick.
and LeBron had key turnovers and missed shots in those games.
All right, last time for this one. Watch Reeves. He was the guy. Reeves is wide open already. Austin Reeves. All right, and he's got even a couple more steps where he can feed Reeves easily. Okay, what's he gonna do? And by the way, Randall, his arms are down right now, so that's an easy pass. Okay, now let's go ahead a couple of seconds. Okay, opportunities missed. and now you got to go for the backup. Like LeBron wasn't even ready to pass up until now. Now you got Randall's hands up too. Okay, so you missed this easy opportunity to get the ball in. 33 seconds. Lakers down by 1. This is a big play.
To the front court. Bounce pass. Deflected and stolen.
And there it is.
McDaniels.
I make the right basketball play every time. I'm LeBron James.
Got tied up. James fell out of his hands. Picked
Oh,
up.
jeez.
Deflected and stolen by McDaniels. But Hachimura got tied up. James
Yep.
fell out of his hands.
That's the right
Picked up
basketball
by
play.
McDaniels. McDaniels down the lane. Inside. Layup. Good.
Not getting back on D was the right basketball play.
Hands of James. Fires up a three.
Hitting the side of the backboard was the right basketball play.
Side of the backboard. Gets to James. James puts up a three.
Breaking that 3 with 52 seconds left is the right basketball play when we're up by 2. We definitely need a 3 ball instead of an easy 2. And I'm a big giant guy. I should be shooting a 3 instead of getting an easy good look bucket close to the rim. I make the right basketball play every time.
Well, yeah. Well, there's 8 other guys on the floor.
LeBron has not scored in the fourth quarter.
Good
Luka's
edit.
got only 3 in the quarter.
All right,
And Gobert's done a
what's
good
next?
job defending Doncic out there. Altering his shot. Offensive rebound. Hachimura. Here comes LeBron. 3. No.
Plank.
Doncic a move. Got the screen. The collision into DiVincenzo.
Well, let me watch it because Luka complains a lot too.
Doncic a move. Got
Okay, a little bit of
the screen.
that's hard. That's a good cancel out because that could have been a blocking foul, but Luka lowered his shoulder into the defender, so that's kind of defensive foul, offensive foul. It's the playoffs, so you just don't call that.
The collision into
You got to make that free throw, buddy.
DiVincenzo. Another rebound by Gobert. Conley ahead. Edwards with float and get.
So you can't just blame the role players. It's everyone's fault.
We need to be better. It's not his fault. I think it's everybody's fault. I mean, it's a little bit his fault too. I mean, but it's collectively as a group, we need to be much better.
Luka was just in the finals last year, and yes, they had centers. But so did the Minnesota Timberwolves when they had Cat, Gobert, and Naz Reid. So how did the Mavs beat them? Luka and Kyrie outplayed Ant and Cat in more games.
Have LeBron play to 5. Magic did it for an NBA Finals. Like, come on now. And Magic wasn't bragging about being able to play all 5 positions. Put him to the test. Make him the 5.
They averaged more points on better shooting, and they took over and delivered in the clutch.
Gobert is out there. Doncic maneuvers for the lead. Got it! Works by McDaniels, who's got to be careful. Spins, fades, fires,
Ooh,
hits.
looks like he got hit on that one in the
Turn
face.
here now. Irving and Edwards, Towns will pick him up. Backpedals, long shot.
They did the same thing against Harden and Paul George on the Clippers. Luka and Kyrie were the best duo in the West.
And I'm so pissed off that it was so short-lived. I was really enjoying the Luka and Kyrie duo. And now, yeah.
So even though they didn't have the best team, they made the finals. Teams matter, but the superstars make the biggest difference in the playoffs. That's why the Warriors beat a bigger and better Rockets team. They had Steph and Jimmy. When one of them had a bad game, the other one stepped up. And if neither of them stepped up,
They lost.
Sure, they had a breakout game from Buddy Hield.
Yeah.
But the Lakers...
Hey, shout out to Buddy. Buddy's actually playing pretty good. Or as Jimmy Butler is calling him now, Butters. But no, he's breaking out this playoffs. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
had multiple breakout games from Rui Hachimura. And now that Steph's hurt, if he doesn't come back soon, they're going to lose.
Yeah, they are.
That's why the Nuggets beat a better rounded Clipper team. They had Jokic, while Harden didn't show up in Game 7. And that's why the Knicks are up 2-0 against a better Celtics team. Brunson is outplaying Tatum and Brown.
Yeah.
And if the Lakers won the series, would we hear about the greatness of Luka and LeBron, or about the other 8 guys on the court? I think we all know the answer to that question. So you don't get to take all the credit when you win, but none of the blame when you lose.
There it is. I'm so happy. I'm so happy. More channels are catching on to the same thing that many of us already have, which is it doesn't go both ways, man. You can't take all the credit, but none of the blame. Okay? It doesn't work that way. Just like somebody who gets 0 credit never takes all the blame. It just doesn't work this way. You have to be that role. And you are getting a max contract. Like, you are the face of LA. even whether they want you to be or not, until your contract is over and you're out of there. You're the face of LA. You're the face of that team. You're the veteran. You're the champion of that team. All of it. All of it. So that responsibility lies on you, and you want the credit. So you want the responsibility, but then you don't want to take any of the blame. It just does not work this way, man. You can't go, unless you're Mike Tyson in his prime, you can't enter a boxing ring without getting hit a couple times. Okay? And I say Mike Tyson in his prime because that guy was insane, all right? He could knock people out in like 3.5 seconds flat. But yeah, outside of that, like you step inside the ring, you're going to get hit a couple times. Maybe you're going to win the match, but it's not going to be flawless, man. And you're probably going to lose some matches. And when you do, you gotta give praise to the people who beat you. Be a man about it, and also accept the accountability. You know, no matter what you do, and that's something that I saw from Jordan in the '80s, was no matter what insane numbers he put up, if they lost, he took the accountability. He needs to be better. You know, they would always say it. Yeah, I need to come back better. You know, I'm going to work on this in the off season, blah, 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 blah. Basically, not making a single excuse, but making a promise to be better. That's growth. Anyways, you guys, this is why I didn't think I was going to do it. Something about him lying and his excuse making, which is basically the same thing, it's lying, really, really just like pisses me off. Like, it's, There's something to it, like the flopping and all that stuff. Like, I can laugh at it and it's good fun. This stuff, like, I've known people like this in the real world, and man, these are the worst dudes. Like, the worst friends, the worst co-workers. They're just people who just blame shift all the time. You know, you could not even be in the room when something happens, but if they get caught doing something, they're gonna blame it on you. You know, it's like, what the hell? What kind of a man does this? Not even just a gender thing. What kind of a human does this? So anyways, yeah, this kind of stuff pisses me off. I'm out of here, you guys. You know what? Before I go, I know you guys can't see this right now, but I'm going to subscribe to this channel, BlacktopBuckets. This is a cool video. My first time watching a video from this channel. Apparently established 73,000 subscribers. So yeah, link is down below in the description if you guys want to check out this channel. Everybody, please leave this video a like. Can't wait to see your comments down below. Am I the only one who gets triggered by the lying? Because maybe it's my own personal experience in life that this stuff triggers me a little bit. And I don't mean to say triggered, it pisses me off. That's all. I'm not like triggered and, you know, like I'm in trouble. No, I'm just like, it just drives me nuts, man. Anyways, let me know. Am I the only one? Like the video if you haven't done yet. I'd appreciate it. Subscribe to the channel for more content like this. And be water, my friends.